Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Clark Beckham, and you're watching the Idol Breakdown, where I tell contestants not to watch, and they watch anyways. This is our final episode of Hollywood Week, which makes me wonder, am I crazy, or did Hollywood Week, that's already not in Hollywood, also not be a week? It feels, am I wrong in saying they came and did one performance and that's it? Like, was Hollywood Week 127 of them getting one performance with the band and calling it? That is not the Hollywood Week of old, my friend. Not to be that, like, seasoned veteran, like in my day I walked uphill both ways through snow, but I'm about to be that. My season, I got more sleep, as much or more sleep, than anybody I know. And I got 4 hours of sleep in 3 days. We were falling asleep in our chairs. We were frantically running around trying to get our group's stuff figured out and getting the songs confirmed. It was mayhem. That is synonymous with what Hollywood Week is supposed to be. Not just for entertainment, but to see, in past, this is how they've used it, to see how people do in high pressure situations. Not just high pressure, not just high stakes, but conditions that aren't ideal. How are you? Because, my friend, you, even if you have a wonderful career with a beautiful, super expensive tour bus and you get flown around everywhere, or of course, if you're more on the independent route like I was for the first 10 years, you're gonna have to grind. And Hollywood Week is supposed to show how good are these contestants, not just at singing, but grinding. If you know what I mean. Not like dancing, but like, grinding. Putting your nose to the grindstone. That could also feel weird. Let's start the show here. We start with where they left us on a cliffhanger that I told you was going to be stupid. And, I mean, it's stupid to me because we all know they're going through. But it's not stupid because I know there are people that do think, oh no, they think that thought. But for us seasoned Idol vets, it's like, been here before. And they did that a lot this episode. One thing that I did not like is, yeah, they had all this suspense. They brought all the greatest singers to the front line. And then Lionel said, and they did this a couple times, but the judge would say something like, unfortunately, your Idol career is ending some other time, and you're all going through. And then they just be like, backline, thanks a lot. What about the backline? Perfect example. Bruce is in the backline right now, and I think he's wonderful. I would never treat him like that. They're just saying, okay, great, backline, are you still there? Oh, yeah, you didn't make it. That's not cool. What are we doing there? They're not being nice at all to those people. They're just like, see ya, chaff. Not a fan of that. It's funny because Chloe is the only person who is convinced by the judges' leadings, by their deception. Everyone else, and I can speak from experience, there are contestants that when they step forward, you immediately know that's the line going through, and you hope to be in that line too. And then it's just bolstered by like 7 more contestants that are for sure goes. So no one's fooled, except Chloe. Her face was just constantly like, oh my gosh, which cameraman's dream. Then we get to one of my favorite auditions now here in Hollywood Week, Jesse Finley.
Please stay where you are. Don't come any.
Sometimes contestants, actually maybe a lot, maybe half or more of the time, contestants that do really well in auditions don't show that again. A lot of times contestants peak in their auditions. This is not the case here. Jesse gave us the exact same energy, so to speak, the same juice that he gave us. Everything we fell in love with in the audition, he brought here to a new stage, a new environment, new stakes, new song, and I think this dude is gonna go very far. I'd be shocked if he didn't make it past top 10 because of his consistency. And I've only seen 2 performances, but what I gather is this dude is consistent. He's emotional. I bet he would murder like Dear Evan Hansen songs, like really emotional, like heartfelt musical theater. He would destroy, which is interesting because usually you hear the musical theater in somebody that can translate it to like popular music. It's rare you hear someone sing like popular music and then think the other way around, but that's just how emotional he is. He's one of my favorites. This was awesome. Definitely in the running for my favorite performance of the episode, but I'll reveal that at the end. And then we've got Kendall.
Are we dancer? My sign is vital.
She sings Human by The Killers. I think this went over in the room way better than it did over TV. And when you're in the room, it's not just you're excited because you're physically there, which is a factor, but there is space and reverb that the singer and the audience hears, and the singer is singing to that. Like when they hear themselves in the band and they're like, how can I insert myself in the most effective way? That is a factor that they're taking in that leads the singer to sing a certain way. And we don't have that factor through the TV. Sure, there's reverb, echoey kind of sound. Sure, there are different things that they do to make it sound like the room and make it sound as good as they can, but it's not the same. So that's what I mean when I say I bet it was better in the room than it was on TV. She kind of had an intentionally shaky tone. Some of you might have heard that and been like, she sounds shaky. But in that style of music and that like excited mid to upper range rock, it's just kind of this like shaky, intentional part of her voice that just gets you really excited. In the room, I bet it was great. On TV, it just kind of felt shaky, but I promise you it was important. She's great. She's a star and she knows what she's doing. I wasn't crazy about this performance, but I bet I would have been if I was there. Cutter. I assume he went through. I might have missed that. Country guy with a giant big range. That really, really helps. And he's got that rocker in him, which I know Carrie loves. Carrie's kind of that. She's a country singer with a big range and has the ability to like really rock. And he does too. Just a reminder, like and subscribe to this. And if you want to know when I post stuff, so for example, these are all on Thursdays now instead of Wednesdays. And if you had notifications, you would know right when it came out. And that's also a huge indicator to YouTube that you like these and that YouTube will think more people would like these. And so it'll show it to more people. So that's the easiest and fastest way you can help the channel. Liking, subscribing, and getting notifications will help this channel for free. Julian.
'Cause I can make you love me if you don't.
Sings I Can't Make You Love Me. He has such a warm, kind, wonderful demeanor. So pleasant to just look at. And I don't mean just he's good looking. There's just a peacefulness and a pleasantness watching him look around, like just watching him interact with the world and talk and sing, and it's like a magnet, and it is very, very by definition attractive. His guitar playing is great. I don't think his singing voice is great. I think it's fine. I think his vocal performance, if you just listen to his voice and couldn't see him, or realize that it's him playing the guitar, I think you wouldn't get it. But here's the good news. Most of the most successful singers of all time don't have the greatest voice, but they do have the greatest connection. And Julian has that. And what's great about him is instead of him, like many singers do, showing us his limitations, showing us, look, I'm going to try to sing up here. I'm going to try to do something that I might not be comfortable. I'm going to push myself to do. And then we go, oh, look, a limitation. He just sings where he's comfortable. He sings where he knows that he can, lets his eyes do the work. And again, I don't want you to think when I say let his eyes do the work, think I'm saying he has pretty eyes. No. He's experiencing so much. They're so alive when he's singing and even when he's just listening to people. That's the stuff that makes a difference and makes you want to listen more. I'm interested to see how he does. I'm interested to see how he does. All those things considered. True the Star.
Make you do right. Yeah. Love can make you do wrong.
First, when I heard his name, I was like, True the Star. I guess we will be the judge of that, sir. But he does one of my favorite songs of all time. He does Love and Happiness. Oh, favorite intro. That little organ thing. So I have high expectations because I remember he's a great singer and it's my favorite song, and he kind of treats it just like a party. Come on, hey, let's go. I know you know what's up. Hey, all right, party on. Blah. Love and happiness. Yeah. And you guys know me. I don't like that stuff. Many people do. Many people do. And you might be saying, hey, didn't you last episode just praise Jordan for doing that? I did. But Jordan sang with power and finesse. I felt like True the Star, who I do think is a star, I think he is great and has an appropriate name, it sounded like he was throwing his voice at the wall. Like he was just throwing his voice out instead of having intention and really focusing on the pitch and the style and the power. And I was a little let down. I was a little let down by this one. Sheldon.
I don't wanna call it off, but you don't wanna call it love. You only wanna be the one that
Sings Good Luck Babe. What a great melody. I've just forgotten how brilliant of a melody that song is. He says something that is my biggest idol or TV singing competition show pet peeve. And it's not his fault because the shows love when contestants sing this, and it feels like he really knows how to play the part of singing competition contestant guy on TV. And he's just saying this stuff. When he said, I really want to push myself. You do not, listen to me, all singers, you do not want to push yourself when you're on stage. You do not. You want to push yourself when you're in rehearsal. And then you find what you can do 10 times out of 10, what you can knock out of the park, and you do that. The stage is not a place for Russian roulette. It is not a place for, that note's a little out of my range, but you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to push myself. That's good TV. That's exciting. That makes us go, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the note. Where is it? And you can say it if you want to play the game, which there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe that's what he did, although he said he did crack in rehearsal really bad. As long as it's not true, as long as you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if your life depended on it, you'd be able to hit the note when you needed to. Do not push yourself. That is such a pet peeve of mine. Anyway, he nails it. The note that came out, the big high note, was so clean, so strong. The rasp on top was so gritty and great. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite note that came out of anyone's mouth on the entire episode. And then he stopped. It was like the only time he did that, and then everything else was just fine. And he didn't mess up. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But I could have really lived there for a bit in that high note area. That could have been bring the house down, we're all gonna die type of a moment. But he just touched it and then came off of it. And maybe that's his limit. Maybe he can't do more, but I'm pretty sure he can. Just from hearing him, I think he can wail for longer than that. They are really pushing the mask narrative with him. I mean, just every time I feel like I see him on screen, he or the judges or somebody or a B-roll, something is talking about, I always covered up my face. I was always in masks. I was never confident enough to show who I really am. And now it's like, we get it. And I'm not blaming him or like, come on, bro, we get it. So much, because when you're in that situation, producers are saying like, they're kind of coaching you on topics to bring up. They're not telling you to lie. They specifically will say, I think it'd be great if you said something like this. Would that be true? Is that a true statement? They're very big on, don't say anything that's not true. Here's something that would be really great here. This is the most important performance of my life. Is that true? Would you say that's true? It is? Maybe you should say that here. That's kind of how they guide. So they're probably guiding him, but it's just, he's given me a little bit too much, like, he's just a little too on the nose on the whole story and reality singing competition. And it just doesn't feel like they're capturing someone who's raw and we're just getting all the goods. It's like he's putting on the story and he has all the little sound bites of what to say. Anyway, that's enough of that. His fashion, I don't know if I can ever get there. It's surely my fault. He seems way cooler than me. But like the like bent kind of rugged hat that he's got on, like baseball cap, and then just a regular like black cotton t-shirt with a giant fur across his shoulder that keeps falling off. Looks like a couple throw blankets that I have downstairs rolled up into one. I don't get it at all. And I don't know how the American Idol demographic will receive him and receive that. And what I mean by him is I mean his style and fashion. And I think it's because he's cooler than everybody, like than all of us. I think I don't get it because I think he's just cooler than me. And I mean that. I'm not being silly. I think he's got something, and I'm worried that the American Idol demographic will not be as on board as all the cool kids will. If that makes sense. I feel like I offended potentially every single person on that comment. Let's just keep going. We're not afraid of that. More. This is my first cut that hurt me. I hated that he went, and I didn't like how they set up his performance as if it was a horrible idea. Friends and countrymen, we have had so many people sing originals in the past seasons, and it's what's really brought American Idol fresh life over the past 10 years, 7 years, especially since it's been on ABC. We have all these original songs and they do great. And even people that with the whole band there for them and they decide, I'm going to do just me. It's a risk, but it pays off all the time. And it's not a big deal. And they set this up like he was making the biggest mistake ever. The dude's a songwriter. He sang an original in his audition that made everyone cry. He was the finale of an audition because it was that good. And then he sings an original here, and it's also good. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful melody. Reminds me a lot of the artist Bryn. And it's a vibe, dude, and it'll work. Like that, people have long, illustrious careers from doing exactly what he did. And they just set it up like, oh man, the band. Why not the band? Like, why are you acting like that's a crazy thing that he did? Everyone does that all the time. I don't like how they set that up. Almost to justify their decision of cutting him. That's speculation on my part, but I thought it was a great song. He's got a great voice. And I think he's awesome, and I think he's going to have a great career regardless of the show. Just a quick heads up. If you want more American Idol content that I'm making, I've got it, and it's in channel memberships. There's the Groove Crew tier, which is $5 and gets you my unfiltered recap videos. The day after the show airs, I posted this one 6 a.m. on Tuesday, so it's like right after I finish watching. Also gets you entry into the Idol Prediction Contest, where you guess my favorite performance, and once live show starts, you guess who's going home. If you get it right, you get 100 points, and wrong answers get 50 points. So just make sure you submit something, because at the end of the season, we'll collect all the points, and the winner will get the Idol Oracle Trophy shipped to them with a personal thank you letter from me. Then there's the second tier, which is the Inner Circle, which is $10. Same perks as the Groove Crew, but you can also get a 24/7 Q&A with me, where you can ask anything you want, and I will answer it in a voice memo and post it on my channel just for those Inner Circle members. It's totally optional, but if you want more stuff, if you want behind the scenes and more thoughts from me, that's where they live. Mary Jo. Mary Jo's going for it, and that's what she does. I've got more to say about Mary Jo. I thought she did really well, and I'm going to wait till the sing-offs at the end to go over more of what I think. Let's talk about Ruby Ray. I love Ruby Ray. She's one of my favorites of the season. I thought this was just big rockin' performance, probably cool in the room, but she's too good to do stuff like this, to just do the classic American Idol run around. Come on, let's have a good time and party and like kill it with the band and da-da-da. And I'm just not interested. She's just too good of a singer. Like, just pick a song that you can sing better than everybody else. There are almost any contestant could have sung that song that she did, but she's able to sing songs that nobody can sing in the way that she can. And I would suggest to every contestant, every singer, artist, period, to always go for stuff like that instead. Ray. Another one of my favorite singers of the season. Man, she's got this big, bellowing chest voice and sharp, edgy mix. To have both of those is such a great combination of weapons. She's got soulful tone. She knows how to move her vowels around to get that effect of that soul. Her mix voice can be shrill on TV when she jumps from like mid-range and then boom, jumps way up there, especially in the beginning of the song. That is really hard to do. And if you're not vamped up and giving that mix note that's way up there enough air support, it can sound a little hollow. The danger is if you give it too much, you can fly off the tracks and crack, speaking from personal experience. So that's a tough one. Very high level of difficulty, but overall, she pulled it off, and this was definitely one of my favorite performances just by the nature of her being one of the best contestants or hopefuls of the season. Let's talk about Genevieve. This was awesome. I think this is the best she's done. This is better than her audition, and her audition was good. Picked a great song. Carrie earlier on in the show said, here's where you knock it out of the park. Here's where magic happens. When you sing a song that everybody's been wanting to hear and you kill it. That's exactly what Genevieve did here. Sang one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite singers ever. I Was Made for You, Brandi Carlile. I think it's Brandi Carlile. If it's not, those facts are still true. Great technique. It does not surprise me that she had a vocal coach there and that she herself is a vocal coach. Her technique is flawless, and more than that, her application is fantastic. Because you can, a lot of times, vocal coaches aren't the best singers themselves. but she really knows how to do all the technique and really apply it. This was great. Jackie. Jackie was the contestant, the hopeful that auditioned, like who Melinda Doolittle and Ryan Seacrest found at Belmont, and she just ran in there and like made it through. I thought she did great. I thought she did better than her audition. I thought this was an improvement. Just didn't have enough spots open for it, and she didn't quite make the cut. The bass player is going nuts on this song. That was a pleasure to witness. Bella Emery. I see Bella as, I literally have written down the cool girl with a bandana on her head. And I don't even know if that's what that is called on her head, but she just oozes cool, you know? Just like, oh man, you're so interesting. And she gives that energy when she starts every song. The very beginning, right at the top of the first verse, you are enthralled. I'll speak for myself. I am enthralled, and I'm leaning in when she starts. When she started to get up in the chorus and the bigger part of her range, it was fine. And then she nailed the last note. The last line was boom. If she could lock that in consistently, she would be a problem. But right now, I just like listening to her because I think she's really cool. And that's just that vibe, you know what I mean? I know you know what I mean because you're watching her too. Daniel Stallworth.
That we look upon should tumble in.
Saying Stand By Me. He is our 10 out of 10 gospel soul guy. And he's very, very good at it. Very accurate runs, great range, great tone, very churchy. He almost said hallelujah at the end. I could feel it when they finished the song. I would have liked, this might sound really nitpicky, and it is, because that's the only thing I can say because it was so good. I would have liked the arrangement to feel gospel soul-y. It felt like it was the classic Motown kind of boppy arrangement, and then he just sang all the gospel soul, and it felt like a juxtaposition, like that was uncomfortable, like that. It just didn't feel like it really fit, like hand in glove. That's my only thing I can say about him, because he's great. He's just he can't just sing where everyone goes, wow, that's amazing. It's got to like change your life when he sings, and he's got the chops to do that, and he's got the soul to make it happen. I think you just have to marry the whole experience of the song to be one with that. Hope that made sense. Brooks.
Storm cloud heading my way.
Brooks has that really special trait that the moment he starts singing, it just makes me want to fall apart. I just hear it, I'm like, oh yeah. Like a cold glass of water on a hot summer day. You know, just, oh, that's what I've been wanting. That's really what it feels like, is he starts to sing, and it's this sense of, oh, that's what I've been looking for all my life to listen to. And Luke says probably the best compliment I can imagine anyone saying when he says, you have a voice that will become so recognizable for years to come. That is the goal. And I agree. One thing he can get better at, his eyes are pretty dead when he sings. And what I mean by that, it's kind of an acting term. It might sound extreme, but you want your eyes to cook. You want people to see your thoughts, your thinking, your humanity, your sadness, your happiness, your joy, your expectation, your discovery of what you're singing about or of life. You want your eyes to be giving life force. And it feels like he's just really bored if you just watch his eyes. If you turn the TV on mute and just watch him, it looks like he's bored and is like thinking, when is the song over? But he sounds so good that no one really It doesn't stick out per se, but I'm telling you, this is an exercise that I coach singers on. If you take the song that you're going to sing and you write down the first line in a journal, and then you write a paragraph on what that line means to you. For example, if I'm singing Go the Distance, and the first line is, I have often dreamed of a far off place. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to define what far off place means to me. So I've got choices to make. Far off place could mean my career. Far off place could mean a family in the future. Far off place could be, I don't know, New York City on Broadway, if that was like a big dream for me, or Hollywood that's actually in Hollywood. Wherever it is, okay, great. Now I would write, or it could be about heaven, which is what it's about when I sing that song. Then I would write, I often dream of a far off place. What does that mean to me? I do dream of this, and this is what I write down. I do dream and think and ponder on this place that we have made so idealistic, and it sounds so amazing, and I wonder, how good can it possibly be? And I know that it's got to be better than anything we could ever think or imagine, and yet we think and imagine pretty incredible things, where there would be no pain, no tears, no sorrow, and I get to see everyone that's gone before me and everyone that will go before me in this special place. Great. Next line. And you do that over and over, and all of a sudden the song adds so much value and meaning to you that you sing that, I have often dreamed of a far off place, and I'm thinking about all those things that I've journaled, and that line means so much to me. My eyes are going to be moving, and I don't mean like physically moving. They're just going to be cooking. They're going to be sizzly. They're not going to be like, all right, when is this over? You know what I mean? Now we got our cuts. Already talked about more. That was sad. And then Julia, she's one of my favorite auditions, and we don't get to hear her song, which is really sad. In Hollywood Day, whatever, Nashville Night. See, that's alliteration. They could have used that. Music City Takeover actually does sound cooler. I wonder, okay, so there are some times where amazing singers just don't make it, and it doesn't make any sense. They are fantastic and they crush it, and then they go home and everyone is confused. And they usually don't let you see how good they are on TV, because why would they do that? Why would they make you fall in love with someone they're just going to cut? I wonder if Julia is one of those people, because she rocks. We didn't hear her outside of her audition. Maybe they just showed her audition because she handcuffed Luke and had like police officer thing going on. But we didn't hear from her again, which was very sad because she's great. Roel. Oh, man. A case of somebody who gave us one of my favorite auditions and then just couldn't quite match that for whatever reason. It's not even that she did poorly compared to her audition, just in a different format, in a different environment, with a band, with all these different things. The equation starts over and you have to nail everything all over again. And one of those factors is song choice. And you have to pick the right song for that moment. And that's why song choice is so difficult. And it's sad she didn't make it. And now I will say, these contestants, this class is a lot deeper than I thought. When they were saying all the people that were going through, I'm like, wow, there really are like 35, 40 people that are really, 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 really good. And they're all going through. And then, of course, just by the rule of numbers, some can't. Then we got some sing-offs. Michael Garner versus Jason Garner. Jason sings That's All Right Mama. Great tone, great energy, tons of showmanship, and puts the guitar behind his head again, which I'm like, why are you doing that? But whatever. I guess now he's made it a thing. And I don't have any complaints. I've just always been like, is that supposed to look, I don't know, cool or impressive? But I mean, it makes people's eyebrows go up when he does it, and people woo at it. So go for it. I thought he was awesome. Just a complete singer, a great performer. Slides to his knees at the end. I could have listened to that many, many times in a row. And great tone. Then we've got Michael, who sings Drift Away.
Well, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll.
And Michael's got a beautiful voice and a great tone. And at first, when I saw this matchup, I'm thinking, I think Michael's gonna get this one. But when I heard both of them sing back to back, I was like, dang, I wonder if they knew that they were both gonna murder it and how hard this decision was actually gonna be, because they both sounded awesome. And I think the reason why Michael got the nod is the same reason I think our next sing-off winner got the nod. And that's because I think Michael has a higher ceiling and untapped potential. This is not a knock. This is not a negative thing. It's a good thing. But I think we've seen fully what Jason is and what he can bring to the table. He's a very polished singer. And Michael seems to be this, I want to say gem in the rough, diamond in the rough. And there's some rough stuff. And I think they're picking him because his ceiling might be higher than Jason's. We have Chloe and Mary Jo.
Before we get closer, I ask.
Dude. Chloe starts singing and I am beside myself. I'm like, the moment she opens her mouth, it's like, this is the best singing of the night. And it's like not even close. It's like when you hear great singers and then you hear a phenomenal singer, it's like, oh, recalibration. That's what it sounds like to be a phenomenal singer. The soft stuff, her tone is so unique. It's so sharp and edgy. Gives me that Adele vibe, but sharper and edgier. And then when she goes into high notes, it's beautiful. And the way that she breaks up her voice, almost like distortion. It's just fantastic. And then we've got Mary Jo.
Oh, belai Brazil. Oh, my.
And she said, I'm going to sing Skinny Love a cappella. I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. And then she sounds the best she's ever sounded. She killed it. Kind of was giving me the same vibe as Chloe. Like, she sounded fantastic. From the beginning, I was totally drawn in. And again, I was thinking, I wonder if they set this up thinking that I was going to be easier, that it was going to be easier than it actually was, because that was a tough one. Hearing them back to back, that was a hard decision. They both did fantastic. And that really speaks to how strong they are. And when you step up to the plate, all the pressure's on you, what do? And they both performed really well. I think Chloe gets the nod because she's got the highest ceiling. I think Mary Jo and Jason has shown us their ceiling. And it is very high and it's fantastic. I think Chloe and Michael both have this special factor where their ceiling could be phenomenally high. Super, super high. That was a pretty poor effort of good descriptive words, but higher than the rest. My favorite performance. This was a tough one. I've gone back and forth, but my favorite performance was Chloe. Chloe's sing-off performance. That's just the best singing of the night, if you ask me. So, Chloe, if you guessed that right, if you're a Groove Crew member and you guessed that right, 100 points to you. If you guessed it wrong, you still get 50 points. Remember, this applies to you, whoever is listening. Unless you're a contestant, then this does not apply to you. It's not us, the critics, who count. It's not the one who points out how the strong man or woman stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and at worst, if they fail, at least fail while daring greatly. Thanks. See you next week.